Broads Media.
I'm starting somewhere that seems super repetitive, but it's part of why this team thrives as much as they do. This offensive line is the best offensive line we've ever seen. The Chiefs have a good offensive line, but they have a major hole on the right side. And that is absolutely going to be an issue. What does Andy Reid do? Well, he's one of the best coaches in the history of the sport. He's very creative, but I wonder, if you recognize I got to do something on the right side, does it change any of your offensive game plan? Does it change something from what he wants to do? Well, I can't do that anymore because Hassan Reddick is taking everybody's face off. There's nowhere for the opposing team to go on the defensive line with this unit up front. Individually speaking, we've seen a ton of great talent. Bosa is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Irrelevant in the matchup. Micah Parsons is a damn good player. Irrelevant. And we basically said, oh yeah, most people run away from you. We're going to attack you. So with all due respect to Chris Jones, who I know everybody wants to put on the big pedestal and say, watch out for, which you do need to recognize where he's at. If some of the other premier talent couldn't get through, I don't anticipate Chris Jones getting through. And the difficulty is, when you flip it to the other side, we're speaking about Chris Jones. And while there's other pieces to their defensive front that are okay, and that have made names for themselves, Clark, there's players out there, right? The waves of BG. Javon Hargrave had double-digit sacks. When was the last time you heard somebody say Javon Hargrave's name? He just falls through the cracks. That's your interior lineman racking up 11 sacks. My point is, we're talking about 1.5 players between Clark and Jones. Wait till you see what we throw your way. It's insane. Here's a reason why I feel confident as well. And I know Pat Mahomes can do this, so it's not as if he can't. But to me, it seems the Chiefs have one way of winning. Patrick Mahomes. It's all on Pat Mahomes. They will beat you if he shines. With the Eagles, there's so many layers to it. The offensive line, the run game, the defensive line, the secondary. The Chiefs are filled with youth back there. And I'm not even a big Spags guy either. His resume says what it says, but Spags doesn't scare me. There's other DCs that I think do a better job than Spags. No disrespect, but he's not on my fear level. Pat Mahomes is, and with Travis Kelce, he can be. But I wonder how JG's going to play this. A lot of receptions, maybe not a lot of yards, though. I keep taking that throw. Travis Kelce for 4 yards, 5 yards, all day long. We won't give up the big shot. Hardman's not available. Thinking of what they could do at maybe spreading the field. They lose a player in that department. But all right, Travis Kelce, beat us with 5-yard chunks. Beat us with 6-yard chunks. And if you think about what this Chiefs team can do offensively, putting up a ton of points, if that's the message they stress, tackle him when he gets the football. Don't let him run for extra yards. And at the end of the day, we'll play the long game. That won't be enough to beat us. I don't really know what they're going to do with Kelce. I just know the chunk plays is something that they obviously monitor. And it's a big part of their brand. But that's the only way I can see them winning, is if that's the case. And keep in mind, Pat Mahomes is hobbled. Pat Mahomes is on one leg. There's so many more paths to victory with the Eagles. Creating turnovers. Getting an interception. The secondary, playing good coverage. The defensive line, getting sacks. Putting pressure on the quarterback. The offensive line, it might not be, and I think it will be significantly better on the box score. But last week, the Eagles dominated on the ground, but in a non-sexy way. It was a grind. It was a battle. It was hard-nosed. It's something that you recognize when you watch it, not so much go back and look what happened on a box score sheet. But maybe they lean on that, and they lean on Miles Sanders, and they lean on Kenny Gainwell and Jalen to free some of these defensive players. And there's definitely more of an opportunity to really rack things up offensively, because this is not the San Francisco 49ers defense. So you can take shots with A.J. Brown, and you got to hit them this time. They had their shots to take last game. They just didn't hit it. But I anticipate Jalen Hurts making those throws this week, because he knows he can't miss it. Okay? You can't miss it. You have to hit A.J. I also don't expect A.J. to have 3 straight games of 30 or less yards passing. But this is the beauty of what this team is. While they have strengths everywhere. And you do what the game dictates. You don't have to force feed a certain part of your game. Let's say you had no run game and you were strictly a passing team. Well, the other team knows that. So you play A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert a certain type of way, Quez Watkins, and you try and force your offense in the passing game because that's all you have. You have to do what got you here. And that was your bread and butter. Hypothetically speaking, that is, if you were a one-dimensional football team. This squad's a 9-dimensional football team. The only way the Chiefs win is by scoring a ton of points and making it a shootout. I think that leans towards the advantage Philadelphia, because there's more ways to do it. Not that national media is everything. Quite frankly, we rip them a lot. But it is interesting how for a long period of time, the Eagles play nobody. The Eagles aren't good. Their schedule was so easy. They're favored against Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. They have the best offensive line ever. They have one of the best defensive lines ever. Their secondary is pretty special, too. Go find me a defense that has Darius Slay next to James Bradbury playing this well with Devontae Maddox and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Epps has held his own. I don't know many secondaries that look like that in this league. So they played nobody. They're not good. Their schedule was easy. They're favored to beat Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. And it's not just because of Mahomes and his ankle. It's because of everything I just laid out to you.